everyone to worship. It is good to see you in the online pews and here in Unity Hall. Know that your presence in this community makes a difference. We're mindful that Passover began last night, so happy Pesach to all who are celebrating. And everyone, welcome to All Souls.
Where all souls are welcome.
I invite you to stand in body and or spirit, and we'll join in our opening hymn, which is Wait Now My Senses. Sunday here at All Souls, it's our custom to greet one another warmly. And let's begin by waving to the folks in the online pews. We're so glad you're with us. And if you're visiting online for the first time, please let us know in the chat. And if you're visiting All Souls for the first time here in Unity Hall and feel comfortable doing so, I invite you to raise your hand so that we might especially welcome you. Welcome, welcome. And now we'll pass that peace we hold in our hearts. We'll pass that by bumping elbows and making a joyful noise.
Good morning. As we do each week, we acknowledge the Nahantic, Mohegan, Massanuttowit, Pequot, and Eastern Pequot people as the traditional caretakers of this land on which we worship. We honor and respect and pay respect to these tribes, their ancestors, and their lineage, who today uphold traditional practices, art, and education. Each Sunday, we light the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and this morning we invite Teddy. As Teddy lights the chalice, please join me in saying these words. With the heart of this flame, the light that calls us home, within the heart of the community, a fire that warms and dances within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. Thank you, Teddy. Each week we also light a candle for a place in particular need of awareness and care. This morning we're mindful of all of those who are incarcerated in the Terrorism Confinement Center in El Salvador. In the past 3 years, the El Salvadorian government has incarcerated more than 80,000 people without any due process. Now 261 people been deported from the U.S. are also being held there. They have no contact with family, no legal counsel, no contact with the outside world, extremely limited toilet and hygiene facilities, and the lights are on 24/7. They're subjected to torture, lack of food and water, and there have been many deaths. Let there be peace.
Today's story for all ages is about the coming of spring and the transformation and renewal of that season. It's called Abracadabra, It's Spring, by Anne Sibley O'Brien, illustrated by Susan Gall.
Sunshine warms a patch of snow.
Hocus pocus.
Where did it go?
A little green shoot comes into focus.
Alakazam!
Now it's a crocus.
How could twigs turn into pillows?
Presto changeo.
Pussy willows.
Buds on branches lightly curl.
Alzebo.
Leaves unfurl.
A silent sky, then birds come winging.
Mumbo jumbo.
Noisy singing.
Sticks and strings look like a mess.
Simsalabim.
They've made a nest.
3 blue eggs sit there, all matching.
Open sesame.
Now they start hatching.
Gray cocoons hide a surprise.
Abba Zaba.
Butterflies.
Lace blooms. Here comes a breeze.
Whoosh and whoosh.
Confetti trees.
Look
at every bright new thing. Abracadabra. Now it's spring.
Even if it hasn't felt so for the past few days, we're told tomorrow is the day. And there has been some springtime activity in the nest above the doorway at the front door here at All Souls, and you might like to take a little look on your way out. There's no faith formation today, so we are not singing the children and youth out, and we will move into our time of beloved community. This is the time that we do each week when we tend to the fabric of community, bearing witness to one another's lives, the joy and the sorrow, both, all of it. And these can be shared in 3 ways. If you're in the online pews, you can write in the YouTube chat what you would like to have shared here in Unity Hall. And those of you in Unity Hall, you can also write in the grey book that sits in the lobby. And everyone can email belovedcommunity@allsouls.net. And now those of you in Unity Hall, if you're so moved, you're invited to come forward and to light a candle of intention. And if you're at the front of the line, if you could move up towards the end of the line, that will help the line to flow. So the circle is open. Your joy, your sorrow, all of it is welcome here. Abby Houseknecht has a joy. My parents are visiting this week for my father's big number birthday. At the end of the month, the larger Houseknecht family will get together for my sister Malia's graduation from United Theological Seminary. Abby, we share in you and your family's celebrations, birthday blessings on your father, congratulations and well wishes to Malia. Joy to you all. Betsy Fox is at Beechwood. She's not ready to receive visitors, but cards are most welcome. Please keep Betsy in your thoughts and prayers. Bob Bunting says, our friend Angela Mock was in an automobile accident recently. She is miraculously, essentially unharmed, but would appreciate any thoughts or prayers we would like to share on her behalf. Bob, we are sharing thoughts and prayers on Angela's behalf for a complete and quick recovery. And from Carol Bunting, Carol had the joy last week of participating in the National Knit for Food event. $520,000 was raised and given to 4 agencies to assist those in need of sustenance. How wonderful, Carol. That's a marvelous effort. And blessings on all who will receive that sustenance. And from Tracy Doobie, Jeff is recovering from a cancer treatment procedure and is improving daily. That's good news, Tracy, and we are happy to hear that, and we're sending love and well wishes to Jeff. And so let's continue in a communion of meditation or prayer, followed by silence, trusting in that power of connection and care, and holding space for all of the joys and sorrows that shape our lives, for all that has been shared and all that remains in our hearts. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, may these practices be reminders that none of us walks alone, that whether in struggle or celebration or anywhere in between, we are held in the embrace of beloved community. We lift the joys, moments of celebration, connection, and growth. May these remind us of the wonder woven into each and every day. We hold tenderly the concerns, griefs that linger, unsettling fears, and burdens carried. May there be comfort, may there be strength. May we be led and lead towards healing and hope. May we be open to awe in all of its forms, the vastness of creation, in acts of kindness, and even in life's bittersweet moments. May awe inspire us to live with deeper reverence for one another and for this fragile world we share. Blessed be, and amen. And now I'd like to invite up the quartet, Lisa and Jan and Steve and Charlie. Thank you.
The song we were singing is Rise Up My Love. It's a motet for Easter. It was written by Healy Woolen, a British composer in the early 1900s. And the lyrics are from the Song of Solomon.
What's the D?
Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. For lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear upon the earth. The time of the singing of birds is come. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. Come
Thank you. Beautiful.
The reading this morning is from Bird by Bird, some instructions on writing and life by Anne Lamott. Let's think of reverence as awe, as presence in and openness to the world. The alternative is that we stultify, we shut down. Think of those times when you've read poetry or prose that's presented in such a way that you have a fleeting sense of being startled by beauty or insight, by a glimpse into someone's soul. All of a sudden, everything seems to fit together, or at least have some meaning for the moment. This is our goal as writers, I think, to help others have this sense of wonder, of seeing things anew, things that can catch us off guard, that can break into our small, bordered worlds. When this happens, everything feels more spacious. Try walking around with a child who's going, wow, look at that dirty dog. Ooh, look at that burned down house. Ooh, look at the red sky. And the child points, and you look, and you see, and you start going, Wow, look at that huge, crazy hedge. Wow, look at the teeny baby. Look at that scary dark cloud. I think this is how we're supposed to be in the world. Present and in awe. End of the reading.
Awe has somewhat of an oldie-fashionedy feel about it. Use of the word awe reached its peak way back in the 1700s. Its original meaning was terror, as in terror elicits awe. Awe has always carried deep emotional or spiritual significance. But as language evolves with the times, its use has decreased as we've moved towards more secular and casual language. Today, awe is defined as a feeling of reverential respect mixed with fear or wonder. The word awful, which is used a lot more today, originally meant full of awe. But if you described my desk as an awful mess, you wouldn't really be saying it's full of awe. It's curious that people in the early 1900s voiced their righteous indignation that the word awful was being used in this way. But now we've embraced it as integral to the English language. This should provide those of us who are language snobs with a little bit of humility. Today, if we experience a shiver of disconnect on hearing something as mundane as a sandwich being described as awesome, well, maybe a sandwich can elicit awe. A hot lobster roll from Captain Scott's, maybe. From the 1600s, this is what awesome meant, eliciting awe. But since the 1980s, it's had the very much watered-down colloquial meaning of impressive or very good, and its use is ubiquitous. Shifts in culture and language have had the effect that we miss out on feeling and naming and experiencing awe. Awe is a profound emotion, perhaps most especially because it takes us beyond ourselves. With society trending towards go-it-alone individuality, perhaps this is another reason why awe has lost both use and meaning. Awe can be positive or negative. So many of us have felt its negative association with fear. Fear of authoritarian power, for example. Fear at how the world economy can teeter at the instinct and whim of one individual. Negative awe, frightening as it may be, can be a good impulse. Perhaps it's hardwired into us because it brings us out of ourselves and into community to address the situation. Yes, we have a renewal of the negative aspects of awe in plentiful supply, and it is doing its job. Perhaps most recently, because of the tremendous weight of this fearful awe, many of us are in need of reclaiming the positive aspect of awe, and no, they are not mutually exclusive. Shock and awe is a phrase that was used in describing the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and has been used today in reference to the overwhelming effects of actions of the current administration. But what about positive awe? What about those transcendent moments of life? I wonder, what are your top awe-eliciting moments? Staring across the Grand Canyon or down into it at that green serpentine river at its base? Holding a baby for the first time? Staring in wonderment into those eyes? Witnessing a solar eclipse? Experiencing awe requires us to change our perception. It broadens our understanding of the world. It expands our horizons. Awe is good for you. It can have a profound impact on our quality of life. So many benefits. We experience more joy, our nervous system is calmed, oxytocin is released. All great reasons to name and bring awe back into general vocabulary. A return to awe, however, means not just recognizing its physiological and psychological effects, but a return to the ancient understanding of awe, that original primary meaning, that of transcendent spiritual connection. This is the case whether we are spiritual, religious, spiritual but not religious, humanist, atheist, Buddhist, religious, irreligious. As the worship arts team was planning themes for this part of the worship calendar, as we were brainstorming awe and reverence, I was interested to learn about William Sinkford and the language of reverence. Bill Sinkford was president of the UUA in the 2000s, and he spoke of the importance of finding a vocabulary that speaks to everyone. This is one of the many things I have so appreciated about my time at All Souls. It has been so refreshing to explore a broader vocabulary. So often, coming from a particular background, for me, I'm talking about a Christian tradition, so often that tradition can lean very heavily on the same repetitive language, perhaps originally expressed awe and was intended to invoke transcendency, but some time ago it became banal and stopped doing that. Sinkford describes reverence as a vocabulary that talks about our place in this wonderful, awesome, dangerous, beautiful world. Language, for sure, is a gateway to awe. When fundamental Christianity comes across something that science can't explain or doesn't accept the science, it is wont to invoke a God of the gaps, saying that if we don't know how something came about, God must have done it. End of story. This has the effect of flattening any inkling of awe, keeping the gate closed on a broader experience that includes the possibilities of sacredness and transcendency. Back to our own experiences of awe. It's all very well to have occasional, dramatic, life-changing experiences, but what about cultivating awe in the everydayness of life? Maybe that's a big leap, but experiencing awe is part of what it means to have a spiritual life, to be spiritually alive. And it's a spiritual practice for us to hone those skills, in the words of Buddhists, to wake up. Awe is receiving renewed attention, and researcher Dacher Keltner says that the way he thought about awe changed when he visited San Quentin prison. I have difficulty imagining this, and perhaps you do too, but Keltner says that he learned, even in prison, awe can still be in the air, the light, the imagined sound of a child, in reading, in spiritual practice. He says, I was like, oh, I can just take a breath and look around. It doesn't require privilege or wealth. Awe is just around us. I'll share two of my own experiences of awe this week, and perhaps they'll overlap with yours, or maybe they'll elicit your own. When is a patch of flowers not simply a patch of flowers? When you're at the intersection of Ocean Avenue and Niles Hill Road in New London, and you notice that azure blue sea of, I don't know what they're called. Violets, little blue violets, a sea of blue gentian violets. And they've spread to neighboring yards and over the sidewalk. They're gorgeous. And I know there are times when I've gone by there, fixed on going from A to B, and scarcely noticing them, and not noticing them. As Marcel Proust says, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeing new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Another example of awe. This week, a study was published, perhaps you saw it. Over 100 scientists have been working on it since 2016. And they mapped the structure and the activity of 1 cubic millimeter of a mouse brain. 200,000 cells with 523 million connections between neurons and the legs of axons reaching out to dendritic arms. It's less than 1% of the mouse brain, but it's considered a milestone. Noticing patterns in the wiring that they couldn't see before, one of the scientists said, "These neurons are absolutely stunning. It gives me great pleasure." Another remarked, imagine that you came to a party that is 80,000 people and you can be aware of every conversation, but you don't know who is talking to whom. And now imagine that you have a way to know who is talking to whom, but you have no idea what they're saying. If you have these two things, you can tell a better story about what's happening at the party. They gathered 1.6 petabytes of data from that 1 cubic millimeter of brain, which is the equivalent of 22 years of non-stop high-definition video. Here's a third example of awe, which hopefully may be a common experience to us, maybe not in some ways, in all the ways, but maybe in some way. In worship here, those beautiful sounds of voices singing, beautiful flowers, alive from nature, this lovely mural, candlelight marking intentions, compassion and kindness in the air, and most of all, being in community. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
This right here is something very special. This is awesome sauce, as they say. In worship, the conditions are set up, optimized for awe, we hope, to take us beyond ourselves to a larger context. We've set apart this time. We've shown up. The space has been carefully considered and prepared. But every day, to experience awe, we have to open our senses and be ready to receive, not to shut off, as Annie Lamott says. Curiosity is a gateway to awe, and curiosity's cousin, wonder, and an appreciation, a gratitude for beauty in all of its infinite forms. But most of all, what is required to experience awe is the ability to slow down, which is itself a spiritual practice. As Georgia O'Keeffe said, in a way, nobody sees a flower, really. It is so small. We haven't time. And to see takes time, like to have a friend takes time. If we're always going, packing too much in, there's no room for awe to naturally bubble up. Experiencing awe requires a spaciousness. And yes, it is often a challenge, one that life asks us to meet so that we might be spiritually alive. There are ways to do this every day. Pay attention to the birds, and what a time for doing that, right? The egrets are back, and apparently hummingbirds are due back this week. Another way to do this, as Annie Lamott says, look at the world through the eyes of a child. Look at that teeny little baby. Look at that red sky. Another way, notice the things that are different in your neighborhood. Writer Alistair Humphreys says, I can guarantee that within a mile of where you live, there will be something you've never seen or noticed before. Awe can be positive or negative. There's enough negative in the world just now. Cultivating positive awe as a spiritual practice helps. Try and make it part of every day. Awe is around us. It's totally awesome. I invite you into a moment of silence.
As we prepare for the offering, let's join together in saying these words. We give to the work of all souls. Our work weaves the fabric of love called community. To this end, we dedicate ourselves in this our offering.
that you have sacrificed, thank you. And I invite you to rise and join in our closing hymn, Rise in Body and or Spirit, our closing hymn, Let All the Beauty We Have Known.
Please join in the words for extinguishing our chalice. Our worship has ended, but our service is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. The chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our communion.
Those of you in the online pews, if you would like to put your hand on your heart and reach out to the community beyond the screen, and those in Unity Hall, reach your arms out to the wider world. As we leave this space and time, may a spirit of awe go with us. May we be open to the beauty surrounding us. May our hearts be attuned to the wonder within and beyond. And may we be ready to create and nurture what is truly awesome in this world. Amen. Please be seated for the postlude. Thank you, Bill. Announcements. If you are new to All Souls and you would like to know more about our faith community, please stop by the welcome table over here and someone will be happy to greet you and answer your questions. Today, racial bias and what it means for racial justice today with guest presenter Dr. Valencia Bagby-Young. We'll be back here in Unity Hall. Grab a cup of coffee and come back here. Also, Italian Sisters are tabling today for the Italian Sisters dinner. You can make your reservation. And there are additional announcements that were handed out. Please give them a read. And I'd like to invite Karen Ether Waring forward for announcement.
And Sally. We're going to use Sid's awesome online pews. Thank you, Sid. Isn't that amazing? So this spring spring is always a time of transition. This spring is very much a time of transitions. And Sally McGee and myself, Karen, are heading up the Good Goodbyes Committee. If Carolyn is in the online pews, you can just log off now. We'll wait a moment. So, yeah. I'm gonna pass it to Sally for a second. No, she's not sure.
Okay, so one of the things, well, we're doing a lot of things this spring, and in order to do these things, we need some money to do those things. So we are asking for some support from the congregation to do those things. And we'll be putting together a lovely booklet that's going to be available to everybody who's going to be participating in an event that's going to be the day before Carolyn's last service, which is on June 22nd. So on the 21st, there's going to be an event at Connecticut College. During that event, there'll be a booklet that will have ads that everybody here is welcome to purchase an ad, what am I saying? Companies that you own, that you frequent, that we frequent, are going to be welcome to buy ads in that booklet as well. So we have, we're going to be asking you to help us buy ads to finance all the events that are taking place.
Right. So stay tuned. Watch your emails, watch the e-blast. We'll be around. Mostly what we want to do is set up opportunities to say, to celebrate and to be together and to say a good goodbye so that we can also say good hellos to our new ministerial leadership.
Okay, wait a minute. But so Karen is very soft in this, but the fact is this costs money. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have to raise money to do this. So you're going to see this week, I think on Tuesday, an opportunity for you to contribute to make the reality of this happen, which costs money. So thank you.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, there we go. Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Sally. That's it, folks. Have a good week. Yeah.